That's the sound of the 1951 Ford Victoria Hot Rod, fully restored and donated from the private collection of A.J. Hires. It's the 2017 Win the Classic Ford Car Raffle to support Helping Seniors of Brevard. You have to see this car. I'm Kerry Fink, and I'm inviting you to visit helpingseniors.brevard.org for full information on this exciting car raffle. That's helpingseniors.brevard.org. Stay tuned for more info on the Talk to Me radio network. We're glad that WMEL cares about the space and Treasure Coast.
The views expressed on the following program are those of the hosts, callers, and guests, and are not necessarily those of WMEL staff, management, or advertisers.
This is Joe Steckler, folks, your host for Helping Seniors, the radio arm of Helping Seniors at Brevard.org. Our task is to educate, inform, and connect seniors and those that care for seniors with the many wonderful resources in Brevard County that are available to help people. And that's the task of this radio show, our television effort, all our written media outreach, social outreach. It all goes to help you understand what is available, what you can do. And it really forms the foundation, the basis for a network. To reach our information specialist, Kay Kaiser, all you need to do is call 321-473-7770. That's 321-473-7770. We have all kinds of sponsors, and sponsors are what paves the way for us to be able to put this network together. And we have a tremendous number of sponsors, and to see them all, you need to go to helpingseniors.brevard.org and take a look at the senior programs there that help you just live. People that are on my show today are people that assist seniors and those who care for seniors. Rob Dixon from the Knowledge College for Aging is one of the panelists, and his brother Scott, who is an attorney with the Weiderman Malik, they're on the show today. We'll talk about the Knowledge College, but I want to talk about that commercial just for a minute that you heard right before we came on air with the show, talking about the 1951 Ford Victoria coming from the collection of A.J. Hires. It is not also just coming from the collection. It was given to us by A.J. from his private collection at no cost to us. I tried to buy a car, and he said, Joe, you don't need one of my cars. You need a muscle car, one of my older cars. And he said, I'm going to give you one. And all he asked was that we try to help people by selling tickets, putting the money into a fund to help people. And that's what we're going to do. We've already gotten pretty good return. I could tell you some of the stories of people about buying tickets already, but it's interesting to see the kind of connections you turn up, people that come from all parts of the United States that will buy tickets. I had a call from somebody this morning that lives in Somerset, Kentucky. It's amazing how quick the word gets out about something, and I hope that the word will get out quickly about what we're going to talk about today. And just some of the sponsors that help pay the way for this program. One of them is Rob Dixon, who is the owner of Knowledge College program, and Rob is on the show with us today, but they're one of our sponsors. Kindred at Home, Dr. Sheldon, the Eye Institute, this radio station. There are just a lot of organizations that are all open to helping people and seniors. But let's start today with the show. Rob, first, let's talk about what the Knowledge College for Aging is, because I kind of look at it as a moving road show of different organizations that are all part of the senior network.
Yes, sir.
How would you comment?
All right. Well, the Knowledge College for Aging is really something that's been in development for 15, 20 years. As I became a guardian and case manager back here in Brevard County back in the 2005, 2006, that I met a lot of wonderful professionals. And one of my frustrations was trying to coordinate the services, because you've got the lawyer, the financial planner, you've got the senior living specialist, you've got the realtor, you've got all these different professions, but they're not necessarily coordinated. And so the Knowledge College for Aging is really the latest group that I've been a part of, involved with, and that's where we put together seminars We've actually had, I think, 4, maybe 5 seminars to date. We were at the First Baptist Church of Melbourne last year, along with the Covenant Presbyterian, and had good turnouts. And then Health First sponsored us at the Hilton Rialto. We had well over 200 there. And then a couple weeks later, Riverview, they sponsored our seminar, and I believe you spoke at that one.
Yes.
Along with...
Let me interrupt you just a second, because the first thing you mentioned a couple of churches. I had a couple of people or several people that called me and said, "Well, gee, how do you get away with supporting a church effort?" I said, "It's not a church effort. A church happened to be an organization that said you could put the show on there. It's just like Health First sponsored the show down at Rialto Hilton. That's not a church. You did one at the Riverview resort area. That's not a church. That's an assisted living facility for seniors. So just because you hear a word mentioned, don't make a mistaken assumption that this is a church outfit. It is not. It is a group of people that all do believe in God, and but it's don't try to tag something that is something that is not. Is there a better way to say it than that?
Yes, sir, it is. What we've tried to do, Joe, is move upstream and get ahead of the aging curve by going to companies, talking to their employees along with their family members. Those folks are usually the sandwich generation between 40 and 60 years old,
okay,
who have elderly that are suffering the consequences of aging. They also have young children. They have teenage kids. They have college kids. So they're being pulled from both ends. And so by going to the companies as well as to the churches, we're swimming upstream trying to educate people before the big one hits, and it oftentimes does. And the churches is just one of many venues that we go to in order to educate and come alongside to help the pastors and their congregations with the aging challenges.
My point was that you can put this show on any place for anybody at any time.
Yes, sir.
And you're not restricted to any type of audience other than you would prefer to do this before an audience of people that want to learn something.
Yes, sir. And usually it's a 3-hour seminar, and the people we have a core group, and that includes our attorney, Scott Dixon. He happens to be my brother, and also a realtor. She's with Berkshire Hathaway, been selling real estate for 40 years. We have a financial planner with First Wave Financial. Troy Denault is a senior placement specialist. Diane Geerling is a wonderful friend, and she's, from a daughter's perspective, she's been challenged with her own situation. And then we also have a nurse that's been an RN for 40 years, and that serves our core. And then we have guest speakers that come in to include Dr. Visa, Sheriff Ivy spoke, yourself, you spoke at Riverview. Right. And so we try to mix it up and just meet the needs of the people coming.
Scott, what do you do as an attorney? How do you interact with your brother on this?
Well, as an elder law attorney, we come across situations many times where either the family is out of town or for whatever reason is unable to take care of mom or dad, and we need to get a professional guardian involved. And so that is where my brother's organization comes into play, Sentinel Care, where we may need someone to intervene in an emergency situation and find housing, find medical care, food, just whatever needs to be done. In many ways, I kind of think Knowledge College for Aging has the same mission as Helping Seniors of Brevard. We're trying to be a one-stop shop where you can call and get the information that you need of resources available to our seniors here in the community. And we've just assembled a group of professionals that we know we can trust and will take good care of our people.
Well, that's a good point. You know the people, you trust the people, and they're out to provide a positive outcome. And we don't want anything to do with seniors to be a negative income. We have enough problems in growing old as it is. We don't need to add many unknowns if there's not a need to interject something like that into the equation. It's just a stupid thing to do. But you mentioned you're an elder law attorney, but there's a lot more to the Knowledge College. Maybe Rob can talk about. I just dropped my notebook, folks. Rob can talk about this too, and then Scott can add to what Rob is going to say. But when we start talking about bringing resources together, Rob, what are some of the things that you mentioned some in particular, but can you name us like a specific thing that one of your people does? Let's say, for instance, the realtor, because I've had several realtors on the radio show, and I began to become aware of how much a realtor can really impact senior citizens in both the purchase and selling of a home.
Yes, sir. And so regarding a realtor, we find that they need to be what I call a full-service realtor, that they're going to help the person sell their home. They're going to help them appraise the home. They're going to help with a personal property inside. They're going to help the person move from where their home is to a senior living community. And also there's a lot of family dynamics involved. There's family heirlooms. There's children from out of town. And so even your realtor needs to understand all the issues relating to a person that might have lived in their home for 20, 30, 50 years, very independent, and now they have to find themselves in a community with rules and regulations and so on. So it could be a very traumatic event. And so what we've done is we pulled together a group of professionals. We hold each other accountable, and we also work with one another to make sure that it is the client is the senior, not each other.
Yeah. Well, just as an example, most of us are concerned about hurricane and weather insurance on our homes and the rising costs there. But when you start buying a home or selling a home, you don't realize that there are other types of insurance that you need to have on a home. For instance, if you sell a home, you certainly should have purchased title insurance, because something could happen several years later. And the reason I mention it is because it happened to us. We did have a title insurance, and somebody made a claim on something years after we had purchased a home. And the realtor we had used knew exactly what to say and reminded us that she had purchased title insurance for us, and that was included in the selling price of the home. So we were covered. But we could have got ourselves in a mess if we didn't have the expert advice that you can get from people that know how to do something. And I'm sure, Scott, that you find that same thing in the practice of law. It's just like people come. Florida is a very fluid movement state. We have a lot of people that come in from outside the state. Probably in the terms of second marriages or people that are older moving out of state, what are some of the common elements you find that they fail to consider in practice of wills and other elements of law?
Yes, great question. As a lot of people may not be aware, the common question that I get is, I just moved here from out of town and I have a will from the state that I came from. Is it good in Florida? That's a very common concern. Or I have power of attorney or healthcare surrogate. And the short legal answer is, it depends. In general, we are going to make the statement that Florida is going to accept documents from other states just like they will accept ours. Having said that, maybe you have named a person to be your executor or your personal representative, but because of Florida law, they may not be able to serve here. Maybe you named your brother and he's up in New York and maybe he's elderly, and when you need him to serve as your healthcare decision maker or your power of attorney, maybe he can't drop everything and come to Florida to take care of things for you. So even though you have documents, even if they're Florida documents, but especially if they're out of state, it's a very good idea to review the plan every year or so, just to make sure that the people you've chosen are still who you want to do that job, and to make sure medically and location-wise they're able to get here and do the job when you need them to do it.
speaking in specific terms, let's talk just a minute about a power of attorney, because you see on television so many times where a popular radio host, and not me, I don't do this. I'm popular, but I don't do this. I'm laughing. A lot of radio hosts will say, get this type of insurance. You can go right to Umpty Ump Place. You can get it. It's one page long, fill it out, and it only costs you $10. That you can create some more grief for yourself if you do that. You might get away with it. You might do that. However, Florida recently, within the last several years, passed a law that addressed certain parts of the health of the of a power of attorney, didn't it? Yeah,
Absolutely.
Explain that to our listening audience, because I think it's something that I don't want to say. I want you to tell them.
Yes, and I get that question all the time. Is like, well, can't I just go down to the local store and get a fill-in-the-blank form and put my name on it? And certainly you can, and I can tell you that you're going to keep my litigation team very happy because there's more litigation that we get into over people that try and do their own legal documents and either not understanding the situation or Florida law do things in a way that end up with lawyers being hired on both sides. Florida, back in October of 2011, did a pretty significant overhaul of our power of attorney laws. One thing that they did was made them uniform. We opted into what's called the Uniform Powers of Attorney Act. And of course, uniform powers are not really uniform because every state gets to adopt it and tweak it a little bit. But the idea there is if you need to go from state to state, that the document should be same or similar enough where they should be accepted in all states. The second thing that they did that's really important is give people the opportunity to designate, limit certain powers so that they can tailor the power of attorney to their comfort level. For example, maybe you want your power of attorney to pay your bills in the event of a hospital stay, but you don't want them to be able to sell your house or change the beneficiary on your life insurance. So you can expand or restrict the powers according to what you're comfortable with instead of the old way that we did it. You just pretty much gave away all the power or none of the power, and there was no fine-tuning to your comfort level.
But the way it's structured now, Scott, if you want something to happen, you have to specifically state it in that power of attorney that you want it done that way. And
Absolutely.
that's why it's so important to go to an attorney, because what you might state or write in, an attorney that knows the law could turn that document around to be used against you, and not in the way you intended it to be used. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. And I'm
Scott,
sorry.
Rob, go ahead. Go ahead, Rob.
Yes, sir. Well, as a guardian and case manager, this is very near and dear to me because either you will, what I find happen oftentimes is a person will go to an attorney, and their very first words out of their mouth is Medicaid planning. Give me a check for many thousands of dollars, and then we'll get you Medicaid covered. And I'm thinking, wait, these people are worth $500,000. What are you doing? This has happened to me on more than one occasion where I've had clients go to certain attorneys. And so, I just want to mention Knowledge College. We hold each other accountable. So I want what's best for my client. There certainly are times when Medicaid planning is correct. However, VA benefits. One of the attorneys I used to work with, I said, he doesn't need Medicaid. Let's get him VA benefits. He said, no, that's not important. And I said, sir, that's a better benefit. There's more money involved, and he deserves it. He was a World War II vet. And so it takes, I think, a coordinated effort to keep the lawyer honest, to keep the financial planner honest, to keep the realtor honest, to keep us all honest. It's like a four-legged stool where it takes all four legs strong and coordinated to get what's best for the elderly person and the family rather than the pockets of a professional.
Okay. Scott, did you have
Yeah, and that just really shows the power of having a team backing you up. Like in the scenario that you posed before, Joe, you've got, let's say that the decision has been made that it's not safe for mom or dad to live alone at home. Well, now we're going to need potentially a professional guardian. Maybe I'm going to get called in to do the advance directives and make sure the will is up to date so that the right people are in the right place. We're going to need to get a realtor involved to help sell the home and help coordinate with moving. We're going to need Troy Denault involved to help find a good assisted living. And if there are VA benefits available, best kept secret in the county is the benefits that are available to our military heroes that a lot of people are not even aware of. But we're going to bring Troy in, and he's going to help us get our VA benefits. And then we're going to have Diane to help organize and so on. So we're going to bring in the team, and you can see every step of the way you need one of our disciplines to get that job done. And it's not just something that you want one person trying to figure out all of it. You want the right person for each part of that job.
And, I'm sure that people are listening to the radio show right now are thinking, you mentioned all this stuff, and the first thought that goes into their mind, gee, that's going to cost me a bundle. It's going to cost me a lot. I don't think I can afford that. I had occasion not too long ago to assist a person, and by the time the attorney got through with all the documents and everything else, this gentleman spent something like, I think it was $300 or $350, and got everything he needed, his power of attorney, his surrogate. This attorney made sure that the person had it, and that's the point you're making. We've got a lot of attorneys in Brevard County. When you select an attorney, you better make sure that attorney has the knowledge in the area that you want the expertise in. And you can find out. You can ask questions. The attorney has to tell you if they have the knowledge and the expertise to do that.
Absolutely. Not only the lawyer, but also the team.
Exactly right. Rob, what else? Scott and I are talking here. What you're sitting there listening to? What you got about 15 seconds, and then the music will start. I'll let you talk a bit longer. Is there anything you want to add?
Only that be careful in the professionals you choose. And again, I think you should work to coordinate the professionals to help each other because of the dynamics involved and professionalism.
Okay. Folks, that's the signal. We're going to take our mid-show break, but stay with us on the other side. We're going to talk about what the Knowledge College has got in store for you and how you might want to have fun and learn too at the same time. So stay with us.
WMEL. That's the sound of the 1951 Ford Victoria Hot Rod, fully restored and donated from the private collection of A.J. Hires. It's the 2017 Win the Classic Ford Car Raffle to support Helping Seniors of Brevard. You have to see this car. I'm Kerry Fink, and I'm inviting you to visit helpingseniorsofbrevard.org for full information on this exciting car raffle. That's helpingseniorsofbrevard.org. Stay tuned for more info on the Talk to Me radio network. We're glad that WMEL cares about the space and Treasure Coast.
It's the Talk to Me Network on AM 1510, FM 99.9, 94.7, and 100.7.
This is Joe Steckler, folks. We're back live for the second half of this edition of Helping Seniors. The show is brought to you by a whole number of sponsors. Some of the sponsors include the second part of the show, include the Eye Institute, Seniors Helping Seniors, Courtney Braswell Financial Team, Canadian Meds of Melbourne, Ear Care, Vitas Hospice, Aldea Today, In-Home Personal Services, and just a whole bunch of people. But please go to our website to see a complete list of all of our sponsors that are working together to help seniors. That website is helpingseniorsofbrevard.org. The phone number to reach Kay Kaiser, our information specialist, is 321-473-7770, and that's the same number that you can use to make a donation for tickets for the 1951 Ford Victoria Hot Rod that A.J. Hires has given to us from his personal collection to help underwrite the financial expense of this organization. So it's all done on donations. It's done on people helping people. And My two panelists today are, one of them is Rob Dixon. Rob is the owner of a Knowledge College for Aging, and we're talking about that because it is something that, it's a way to learn. It's a way to get ahead of the power curve. It's a way to plan for the future. And included one of our panelists that does some of the seminars for the Knowledge College is Scott Dixon. Scott is an attorney with Wiederman Malik. And so both those two gentlemen will provide input into the second part of the show. But Scott, one of the things we talk on, Rob, one of the things we talk about on the Knowledge College for Aging is the fact that it's a learning experience. But to further, I guess maybe enhance that learning experience, you're going to provide sort of a captive way to help these people learn with something that's a little bit novel that I've never seen this tried in the Elder Law Network with your cruise that you're going to have in March. Let me tell people a little bit about the cruise, when you're going to do it, and what types of seminars you'll have and how you'll devote parts of each day to helping people understand some of the problems of growing older.
Yes, sir. Well, first of all of our seminars have always had a cardinal rule that we're not selling our businesses, but rather we're imparting knowledge. Someone might have a favorite attorney that they would be going to, so they could come and learn about how to keep their attorney at a high standard.
Use a different example.
Okay, different example. There you go. And so what we thought we would do is, it was actually Kerry Fink's idea, one of my counselors, and he suggested that we go on a cruise to have both a 3-hour seminar that will split into 1.5 hour segments, along with a couple workshops. At the seminar itself, we'll hear from 8 or 9 different speakers on the topics that we've talked about, everything legal, financial, elder placement. We might talk about end-of-life issues, hospice care, burial, cremation. The family dynamics is a very important part of that, and then the guilt and shame that one might feel. And so we'll be discussing that. Of the 7 days that we'll be out at sea with the Oasis of the Seas, Royal Caribbean, we will be out at sea 4 of those days, and that's when we'll be having our seminars. That way, when we're docked up against the port, then we'll be able to enjoy the area.
Well, even if somebody got seasick and they didn't want to go to sea, what other seminars do you have planned for this coming year?
Well, thank you. We have 2 scheduled, one in August 19th, that's a Saturday morning at Peace Lutheran Church in Palm Bay, and then the 9th of September, also at 8:30 a.m. on a Saturday. Again, 9 September at the Tapestry Ministries, which is South Courtney Parkway, about 2 miles south of the 520 Causeway.
Okay. But the point is that by working these seminars, you're scheduling ahead, and if people and Scott, I want you to talk about this from the attorney, as the elder law attorney viewpoint. If people don't get a better job on planning ahead for growing older, they're just going to create more problems for themselves. The whole purpose of the Knowledge College is to try to give people information on how to be better prepared to grow older, and once they're there, to be able to enjoy the fruits of the planning they should have been doing when they were 30, 40, and 50, and not waiting until they're 80 and 90 to do the planning, because it's too late then. So how about you as an elder law attorney, tell our listeners some of the ways that a good elder law attorney helps prepare people to get on the right side of the aging curve.
Yeah, and that really is the heart and soul not only of helping seniors, but also of Knowledge College for Aging, is plan ahead, plan ahead, plan ahead. I've checked with my insurance agent, and the statistic is still true, that 1 out of 1 will die. And so if we know that this is a sure thing, we are going to age, we are going to get sick, we are going to have emergencies, and eventually all of us will pass away, then it's wise to plan instead of without a plan. Then you're making decisions in an emergency panic sort of mode. And I think all of us would agree that when you make decisions under stress and with not as much information as you can otherwise have, not perfect information, then it's easier to make the wrong decisions and you end up in a mess. We spend half of our time trying to get people out of messes that they've gotten into because they didn't plan ahead and find out what's available. And then before they know it, mom's in a nursing home and everybody's trying to circle around and trying to get everything done after the fact.
Right. I like one part you said. All the statistics that you mentioned, I agree with except one. I agree that we all will die. We all will have certain needs. But fortunately, not everyone gets sick. Some people live a life, they never get sick, they die and are perfectly healthy, and they die one night or one day. The problem is, you don't know if you're going to be that person, and if you don't make plans to prepare for all eventualities, then you could become a tremendous burden on your family, and it's just not right to do that. You're very fortunate if you don't get sick. When I was a young man, I was involved in sports. I worked out all the time, worked out in the gym, and did all these things to take care of myself. I can't do things today that I did when I was 40, 50, or 60. When I was 60, I was still running 3 miles a day. I can't do that today. But I'd like to think that I did do some things right on planning for going older, and I did get long-term health care insurance. And I hear so many people today talk about, well, I can't afford it, I can't do this. No, you can't afford it if you wait too long. But and I'm not sure if you know about that, but I'm sure you could talk about what I'm going to mention. There are some different products on the market now for in place of long-term care planning. The way those documents are, there's in terms of using annuities some way. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, there's, and really that's why it's important again to have the team. I know I keep coming back to that.
No, go ahead. I want you to talk about it.
Yeah, but we all don't have expertise in every area, and if anyone tells you they know everything about everything, I would walk away. I would not do business with them. One of the members of our team is a wonderful financial advisor named Laura Cheeseman. She's with First Wave Financial, and so in that situation, we would bring her in. And so we just have this team of wonderful professionals that we can bring in, and maybe an annuity is the right answer, maybe long-term care insurance is the answer. And a lot of people think, and I believe a big mistake, that they're buying the insurance to pay for the nursing home. Absolutely not. The whole reason we're doing all this planning is to provide the finances so that all these other options are available to you, so that you don't have to go to a nursing home, but you can bring the care into your own home if possible. There's wonderful assisted living private homes. There's assisted living resort style living like Riverview we've already mentioned. And so buying the long-term care insurance isn't to pay the nursing home. Buying the long-term care insurance is to provide options for you so that you can age in place on your own terms and not have something dictated to you because you didn't plan ahead.
Right. But I think our listening audience needs to understand that word you just used, dictated to, because there are cases where people want desperately to stay out of a nursing home when in fact that is the right place for them to be. And this is the hard call when you're working with a placement team, is for the person that's doing the placing as well the person that's being placed, for them to come to understanding what really is the right thing. It's just like going into hospice care. Hospice, when you go into hospice care, you've sort of left a realm of aggressive care. Hospice care is not aggressive care. It is more like a care that is of acceptance, and you've accepted something, and hospice does everything they can to help you feel comfortable or be comfortable with the situation which you've been given. And if the family and the care receiver let the systems work the way they're supposed to work, they can help.
Right.
But
And
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Joe, in the 11 years that I've been a case manager and guardian, I have never had to put one of my clients into a nursing home permanently. That I've probably taken care of 80 or 90 people, and there are many creative ways to honor their wishes, whatever they might be. But in every one of my clients' wishes, along with their families, there are good alternatives to nursing homes. There certainly are occasions when a nursing home is appropriate long term. However, you mentioned hospice care, which is lovely to have offered, along with assisted living, also living at home. You mentioned the long-term care insurance, which many of the newer policies provide for in-home care, which is a wonderful option. And so that the nursing home is a possibility, but I think if you have a good case manager, a good guardian involved, I think most people can avoid long-term in a nursing home.
Well, let me give you a situation. You tell me how you would handle it then. Take a person that's been flat on their back on a ventilator for 80 or 90 days, and they've had their ribs crushed flat, and they can't breathe if they're not on the ventilator, and the family wants them to come home, and they can't get off the ventilator, and you're allowed so many days, and the cost, we're talking thousands of dollars a day for care. You've been very fortunate that you've had 80 or 90 cases you've been able to resolve where they could get all the cases. That does happen. It can happen if you work the system the right way and bring the right forces together. But you do reach some situations, Rob, where you don't have a choice. I remember a situation one time where a gentleman, his family insisted that the military take care of him in his home. I don't know how they pulled this off, but his care was costing the military $300,000 a year, and it was the same care that had been provided for in a nursing home. It was the same kind of care that your dad died from, and your dad was in a nursing home, and there were a lot of people that did a lot to take care of him. The point is that there are situations that we encounter in the care business that we have to recognize that there are situations that demand certain things and just hard, difficult decisions to make. And if we continue under our CARE Act, if we continue to shove problems down the road, we're going to get ourselves in more difficult position. Our governor was on the radio, on the television this morning, and he's not going to expand the Medicaid. So there's a problem. Scott, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, the key difference, and I absolutely agree with what you said, as you mentioned, our father, who unfortunately died of Lou Gehrig's,
right.
He needed to be in a nursing home, and he got wonderful care at one of our Brevard County nursing homes. To me, the key difference is that you don't want to go to a nursing home for financial reasons.
Oh, I agree.
You want to go for medical reasons. And so the advantage to long-term care and financial planning and all of that, to leave the options available. One of the saddest parts of our job is when someone goes to a nursing home because they don't have the finances for the other care, even though medically they could be at home. But absolutely, we've got wonderful nursing homes here in Brevard County, and for medical reasons, if that's what's needed, absolutely that's where you need to be.
But before I turn, Rob wants to bring something to your attention, but I want people to understand what we're talking right now, folks, is a very difficult area of elder care and elder law. It's a very, very trying time for families, and it is where honesty is required. And I should have picked up on something Rod and Scott said, because I wholeheartedly agree with what they said, because there are too many people who try to work the system so that instead of being cared for at home, they are forced into a nursing home for financial purposes and financial gain by certain types of organizations. And I'm not going to talk about that on the radio today, but this is one of the reasons why, folks, you need to ask the right question, because I have one situation where a family called me, and by working with the family, we caused a nursing home to return $30,000 to the family for inadvertent care. So that makes a difference.
Right.
Rob, go ahead. You want to talk about the Knowledge College here?
Yes, sir. Well, two things. First, just the importance of having a team, that you want to coordinate your financial planner, your lawyer, your nurse, your doctor, a care manager, a guardian, that it's a coordinated effort. And if you are only working with one piece of the pie, too often that piece of knowledge is unaware of the other parts of the pie.
Right.
What I wanted to just remind all the folks, we only have a couple more minutes, is about the cruise that's coming up in March of 2018. And that's on the Royal Caribbean Cruise Line going out of Cape Canaveral. We'll be on a 7-day Western Caribbean cruise on the Oasis of the Seas. And we'll have both our seminar as well as workshops and a whole lot of good food and a lot of fun. And Scott, you've been on that ship, I think, once or twice.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful ship, and you're going to have a wonderful time, and it'll be a great learning experience. All of our speakers will be on the ship and doing our workshops, so it would be a good opportunity not only for our seniors, but also to travel with your adult children, which really is the heart of helping seniors of Brevard and also Knowledge College for Aging, is that your adult children should be involved in getting this information with you, because if you learn the information and you have a medical situation and you're not able to speak and tell your children what you know, then all that knowledge is wasted. So it's good. Like Joe said, this is not something you want to keep secret. This is an honest conversation you want to have with your children so that everybody knows what the plan is and everybody knows who to call in the case of an emergency.
And most importantly, Scott and Rob, I think that we all need to understand that too many people delay discussing the types of things that we're talking about today because they don't want to talk about people dying. They don't want to talk about death. They don't want to talk about families having mothers and fathers no longer here, or children no longer here. It happens both ways. But the easing of the burden of death and improper or inadequate planning is something that as funds grow tighter and the care system is undergoing the changes that it is, we need to be more attuned to how we can make it all work better for us. And if we don't talk about it, if we don't think about it, if we don't have programs like the Knowledge College or attorneys that are skilled in all the nuances of elder law and the importance of having documents prepared and done the right way, then we just cause grief for ourselves. Can you think of one situation, Scott, as you experienced in your practicing career that you might have been able to help somebody if they had to come to you quicker? And while he's talking, Rob, I did him first because I figure he talks faster than you do. I'm kidding. It's the same thing from the guardian experience. Scott?
Oh, certainly. We've had situations, sometimes it's been too late because of a stroke or the medication. They lack mental capacity to do their documents, and then we're going to guardianship, and we've kind of left it to the courts to decide who's going to be in charge. Which really bolsters the importance of choosing wisely who your healthcare surrogate is,
right.
Because they will be deciding your care. But we certainly have had situations where the person has still had mental capabilities, and we've gone to the hospitals, we've gone to their homes, we've gone to the nursing homes and met them there and gotten their documents all taken care of so that they can choose who provides their care. Sometimes, like you said, you don't know whether you're going to be the ones to go quickly or slowly. And you don't know if you're going to have time to do your documents after that medical event happens.
Okay, Rob?
Yes, sir. Scott, twice I thought you were heading towards a famous phrase that you've said many times. I heard from you first. Be kind to your children. They'll be choosing your nursing home. And so, as a court-appointed guardian, I get involved in families' lives. They don't know me, they don't trust me, they don't have a clue who I am. So going back to Knowledge College, it's all part of getting ahead of the aging curve, getting your documents in place, getting your financial house in order, communicating to your family what your wishes are, whatever they might be. And, really most of my, I can say all of my guardianships, and it's very expensive. It's $5,000 to $10,000 to $15,000. I've seen them as high as $100,000. And when there's competing petitions with family members, where a son or daughter might say, "Mom would never have wanted that." And so, if the people can get, I think Scott, you said 70% of the people do not have valid advance directives, and so by getting upstream. Rather than a guardianship being imposed upon somebody, you can make the decisions who you want to decide for your care much easier if you get with a good attorney that knows what they're doing, and again, a financial planner to help with the finances.
Okay, I'll give a quick example. We got a couple of seconds. I went to a recent big fair that both Scott and Rob were at, and I was talking to a person that did burial services, and the kit that they offered to veterans cost $1,765, and the same thing that private mortuary here in Brevard County was doing, they were selling the same package for $12,000 plus. So it's horrible, folks. Make sure you get to the right person, and Knowledge College is a good place to get started. Talk to you later. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Rob, for being on the show today.
Thank you,
Thank you, listeners. I'll see you next week.